July turned out to be one of the most exciting months this year for the Star Wars canon, not in releases, but in news of what is to come. From E.K. Johnson's Ahsoka to Timothy Zahn's Thrawn, the news on the narrative front was strong. As far as actual releases for the month, it was a bit lighter there, but no less significant. Let us take a look at what came out and its place in the timeline as we explore the additions to the Star Wars canon, July 2016. There have been 6 separate entries into the canon this month. We start this month with Marvel Comics' Han Solo, issue number 2, as Han Solo races in the biggest starship race in the galaxy, the Dragon Void Run. Poe Dameron, issue number 4, the first part in a new story arc, Lockdown, and Darth Vader, issue 23, part 3 in the End of Game story arc. With the advent of the story group, Star Wars novels have been getting great exposure anytime a new one is released, which was very exciting for us to have Chuck Wendig's Aftermath Life Debt released this month, the second in the Aftermath trilogy. We finished the month off with Star Wars issue number 21, the first issue in a new arc called The Last Flight of the Harbinger, and the second issue in the Force Awakens comic adaptation. Now, let us take a brief look at where each of these stories fits within the Star Wars canon timeline. There is a lull in pre-Episode 3 content. Hopefully we will see more in the future, but the teams at Lucasfilm seem more dedicated on expanding the universe after Order 66, which is what is most relevant to their film and television efforts at this time. After Episode 3, we know fresh content is coming. With Rebels Season 3 on the horizon, the Ahsoka and Thrawn novels will also come in to fill some of this material, as well as the Rogue One tie-in novel, Catalyst. However, nothing new was released this month. After Episode 4, A New Hope, we have the second issue of the Han Solo comic. Han has been asked to participate in the Dragon Void run by the Rebel Alliance as a ruse for him to pick up a couple of spies that have been working inside the Empire. But no job is ever as simple as it sounds. We begin a new story arc with Star Wars issue number 21, where we are introduced to an elite squad of stormtroopers who become the enemy of the rebels in this next arc. Darth Vader, issue number 23, begins to wrap up all those loose ends in the Darth Vader story and sets us up for the epic conclusions over the next 2 issues. Again, nothing new here between 5 and 6. After Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, we have the next installment in the Aftermath trilogy, Life Debt. Chuck Wendig did an amazing job linking these 2 books together, and, as a surprise to me, many of the interludes from the first book provided some history to either other interludes found in this book, and, in a couple cases, actually impacted the main narrative. This was an exciting story that has everyone excited about what is to come in the final book, Empire's End. Poe Dameron issue number 4 was also released this month, where Poe meets up with an old friend of ours, Gracchus the Hutt, in part 1 of the story arc called Lockdown. Gracchus was last seen in the Star Wars series Showdown on the Smuggler's Moon, issues 8 through 12. And this is a great way to see these 2 ongoing series connect, even though they are several decades apart. Lastly, the second issue in the Force Awakens adaptation was released, which will not receive a permanent place on this timeline, but is worth mentioning as a canon adaptation of this film. That concludes this update for July 2016. And as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to keep up with all the insight and analysis found here at Star Wars The Canon Explained. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Leave your comments and questions about this story or any elements of the Star Wars canon below. Till next time, may the Force be with you.